I'm going to talk to you about some of Eton's history, Eton College today and how we teach our boys, and an opportunity for students to come on one of our new leadership summer camps. So my name is Phipli. I've been the Director of Summer Schools and Facilities Letting at Eton College. I've worked at Eton for 38 years, and I've looked after the summer school operation of our international summer schools for the last 32 years. Away from work, I've been heavily involved with local council, and I was the Mayor of Eton from 2007 to 2015. And last June, I was very privileged to be honoured by Her Majesty the Queen in her birthday honours with a British Empire Medal. So, a little bit about Eton's history. It was founded in 1440 by King Henry VI. He wanted to educate 70 boys whose parents didn't have money to pay for their education. And the school was called the King's College of Our Lady of Eton beside Windsor. And as you can see from the picture on the right, the school has grown dramatically from those early days. The school is now virtually the whole town of Eton. We now have 1,340 boys at the school, but we still have the original 70 King's Scholars. And in addition to that, we have a lot of boys who have either scholarships or bursaries or assistance with their fees. As you can see there, we have many royal links. Her Majesty the Queen is visiting Eton there when the boys gave a music concert. You'll see Prince Harry signing in the book when he first came to Eton, and some pictures of William Harry whilst they were with us during their 5 years. We also have links with the Thai royal family. As you can see there, your King Raman VII, he was an old Etonian as well. And there's a picture of him with his group outside the house back in 1908. Also have other famous people from Eton. They say that Eton is the nursery for Eton's prime ministers. We've been fortunate that we have 20 old Etonians who have been prime ministers of Eton. You've got Boris Johnson there, who is our current prime minister, David Cameron, your own prime minister, who was at Eton, and Eddie Redmayne and Tom Hiddleston there from the world of drama. So Eton is lined with many traditions. You'll see the boys there walking across schoolyard with their cloaks. The famous Eton Wall game. It's really just like a rugby scrum, but it's against a wall. Members of the Eton Society, or POP. These boys are there to help the headmaster with various things, and they act as ambassadors when we have visitors to the school. And the bottom two pictures, there we are with the 4th of June. This is the traditional day when the boys will row the boats down the river, and the boys will stand in the boats and doff their hats to the Queen and to Eton as a respect to both the school and the royal family. So the boys are educated and they're all accommodated in Eton. We have no day boys at the school. We have 25 boarding houses, and there's an example of one in the top right-hand corner. Within the house, we have the housemaster, the assistant housemaster or tutor, and they're responsible for the boys' discipline and their academic progress. We have dames and assistant dames who are there for the pastoral care of the boys, and we have housekeeping teams and catering teams who go around doing the cleaning and the catering for the boys. The King's Scholars, though, they still live separately. Although they are educated in the same classes as the boys, they live separately in new buildings or college. Within the boarding house, we have a structure. We have a house captain, and that boy will be the link between the housemaster and the boys. We'll have a captain of sport who will make sure that whenever the house has to have a team to represent them, sport or drafts or chess or anything, debating, things like that. We have keepers of societies. The boys, after they finish formal lessons and tutorials in the evening, we have over 50 different clubs and societies that the boys can go to. Each boarding house accommodates around about 50 boys, 10 boys from each year group, and the year groups are from year 9 to year 13. The boys have their own rooms. There are no sharing rooms in Eton, and the boys are allowed to bring some of their own posters and things like that to put on the walls. 14 of the boarding houses, the boys each in house with the housemaster and staff, and there in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see a dining room in one of the boarding houses. 11 of the boarding houses, the boys take their meals at Beckington, our very large central feeding area, catering for about 550 people 3 times a day. And the King's Scholars, college boys, they take their meals in College Hall. And again, this is still within the old foundation part of Eton. So in the early days, the school day would have started about 5 a.m. with chanting prayers in Latin. Latin was the main word of the school in those days. The school day would also move around the daylight hours to make sure that they weren't overusing candles and things like that. The modern day Eton, well, we start at 7:20, and then everybody goes to chapel or an assembly at 8:40. We then have lessons at 11:20 on. We have chambers. On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the headmaster will meet with the whole teaching staff and give out any essential information that's needed. The boys will then have further lessons and lunch before they do sport. They'll then come back from sport and have afternoon messing. Maybe some toast or some cereal, or maybe just some donuts or snacks before they put on their school uniform for their afternoon and evening lessons and tutorials. After supper, the boys will have prayers. And this is a time when the housemaster will pass on any information he needs to, and he can check daily on the boys that everything is okay. And then at 8:45, the boys will go off to various clubs and societies and meetings until the school day finishes at about 10 p.m. A lot of sports at Eton, and there is a list of the various sports. I guess the one sport that a lot of people ask about is Eton fives, and you can see there, top left-hand corner, the boys are playing fives there in the original area that the game started. And the game started by the boys waiting outside of chapel for the priest to unlock the door. And boys being boys, they took a ball and they started a handball type of squash. And it gradually developed until today we have the game Eton fives. Soccer, rugby and cricket are also very popular sports at Eton, as well as rowing. There we are with our new Athens Sports Complex, just opened in February this year, a really big new sports hall with a large swimming pool. And that is the first phase of 2 new sports complexes that we'll be building. The old sports complex will be knocked down and a new one will start development from September this year. Eton is also famous for its rowing, and there you see the Eton Dorney Rowing Centre, and that's where the boys go up to do their rowing and their training. And we were very fortunate in 2012 that the British Olympics used Dorney Lake as part of the Olympic venues for the Games. So that's a little bit about Eton's history and where we are today. And now I'm going to just give you a few slides about the Future Leaders Summer School for 2022 and the way we're going to hopefully get boys to be leading the way. So the Eton College Future Leader Summer School offers the experience of living in the boarding houses, teaching and leadership development by blending Eton's education and philosophy. And there you'll see some pictures of the students who have previously attended other courses in Schoolyard with the famous tower behind. So we'll have a director of summer schools, we'll have a course director, and then under that we'll have the academic team, the pastoral team, and then the medical team who will be there 24 hours a day, just in case anybody's not well while they're with us. So while they're with us over the 14 days, the boys will have 23 lessons, 7 lectures, 5 seminars, 6 private study times, opportunities for debating, a 2-day, 1-night away bushcraft team building excursion, traditional afternoon tea, and they'll make their own scones, formal table, manner and dinner settings, access to various museums and collections that we have at Eton, and excursions to London and Oxford. We're going to try and keep the typical day of an Eton boy, so we'll start at roughly the same time. We'll have lessons, we'll have chambers, but in the afternoon, instead of lessons, we're going to use that for either activities on site or off-site activities. Class sizes will be about 14 students, and that will hopefully make sure that the students are there and they can be very interactive with the tutors. Lectures and seminars, we're going to ask various people to come in and talk about all different types of things to do with things like university application, presenting yourself, developing skills, etc. And in the extracurricular activities, in the evenings, they will do activities. They'll be using the sports centre, and they'll be going off to Queen's 8 and having things like movie nights as well. The excursions and leadership workshop, students will visit some famous places: Windsor Castle, the London British Museum, Covent Garden, a West End musical, Oxford Universities and Blenheim Palace, as well as the 2-day, 1-night excursion to the bushcraft. Meals will be served in Beckington in the central dining area, a very good wide selection of meals. The boys will have their own bedrooms on site, sharing a boarding house with Eton staff. Each student will receive a written report from their tutors and heads of house when they finish the course, as well as a course certificate. There's the example of the bushcraft leadership camp. The students will make their own bivouacs for protection for the night. We will supply things like sleeping bags, but there's a team there all the time showing them how to make fires safely, how to cook food over a fire safely, and it will be a real adventure for them for 2 days. Queen's 8, Eton's private island in the River Thames. They will go there one evening, they'll have a barbecue supper, as well as doing team building and activities while they're there. Trip to London, they'll go to London, they'll see the British Museum, where the student mentors that we employ will go around the museum with them, and they'll work on worksheets to make sure that they get the full benefit of their time in the museum. They'll then go to Covent Garden, see things like street entertainers at work, as well as the various other shops and some typical English activities that happen in that area. We're hoping that we'll be able to get tickets for them to go and see The Lion King, but during these times, as we know with COVID, not everything is always possible all the time, but we will do our best to ensure that they see The Lion King or a show similar. They'll go to Windsor Castle. They'll arrive early. They'll see the changing of the guard, like the picture on the bottom right-hand side. Her Majesty's Guard changes every day at about 11 a.m. And then they'll go inside the castle and see some of the state apartments that the Queen uses when she is entertaining guests at the castle. They'll also go to Oxford and Blenheim Palace, the home of the Duke of Marlborough. Again, we're going to try and get entry into some Oxford universities, but at the moment, not everybody is accepting visitors. But please be assured, we'll make sure that the course mentors take them around Oxford and show them the various famous colleges, as well as other things like the Bodleian Library, the Carfax Tower, and other things in Oxford. Extracurricular activities, there'll be the scone making, they'll do various sports in Eton, in the fields or in the gymnasiums, and generally their whole day will be taken up. There will be very little free time for them from when they wake up in the morning until they go to bed in the evening. Thank you for listening to my short presentation.